British subject just means that you are British by birthrights without being born in Britain. So anyone who was born in Jamaica or Grenada or Trinidad and Tobago or any of the British Commonwealth nations, you was a British subject, so you was British by law. When you come here, you never should have had to have paid, or some people didn't have to pay, but they still had to be nationalised or neutralised, and they got that as a free process. Whether it was free or not, don't think that's not an issue. Some of the elders say, oh no, I've had no issues, I got naturalised for free, but you went through that process and you never should have had to because you was already British. Write down what you've experienced in a timeline. Put every single thing there: physical health, mental health, if you've had counselling, if you've had relationship difficulties, if you've got family members that you don't speak to because this trauma has caused us to be to have fractured relationships. Of course, as well, many of our elders had to face growing up without their parents, and they've experienced abandonment and rejection all of their lives. That type of trauma can ruin your life forever. It can ruin your outlook on relationships. Some of us come from massive families, but they're isolated because they're by themselves, and it's not intentional. It's not because you're bad, it's not because your family members are bad, it's because they're dealing with the trauma that happened due to this scandal. The government now recognise that it was a scandal, and that's why people are being compensated. So forgive yourselves as well for some of the decisions that you've made in life that you may not be happy with. Next slide, please. Just go back on what, if you're applying on behalf of someone that is deceased, you have to prove how you're related to them and prove that they're eligible for the scheme, and then write how their life was impacted, and then write how what they went through impacted your life. So for example, if it was your parents and they were traumatised, that affected the way they parented you, that affected your quality of childhood, and it affected your life as A, B, C and D. Every single one of us have been through things, and it's very important that you document it, evidence it, because the more that you document and evidence, the higher offer that they're going to give you. And just to let you know, I applied and I qualified. I'm born in England. My mum's also white as well. So if I qualify, then you must qualify, especially if you're an elder that come in that time. Many of the elders that I speak to say, oh, I don't qualify. You do. If I qualify, you qualify. It's just proving it and then evidencing it. And I will tell you all, people say you shouldn't tell people how much money you got, but I need to tell you all to encourage you all to apply, and to apply now. I got £20,000 last year, and with the award what I got, I went to Ghana and I bought some land in Ghana. Yes, so that's what we all need to do. Yes. Next slide, please. So when you get this money as well, it's very, very, very important. Of course, spend some on yourself, but invest either in the Caribbean or Africa. Because as well, about 2 years ago in Ghana, the government of Ghana announced a year of return. They want all of the Africans across the diaspora to return. The reason why the majority of us are here as well is because of what happened in the transatlantic slave trade. We were taken to the Caribbean and then taken here. So all of us are descendants of that era. So we all need to kind of to invest some of this in back where we come from. It's a spiritual investment, and it's going to be nothing but powerful. So please make sure you apply, and even if it's just 1% of it, invest it in the community. So there's other relevant evidence to prove that you've been here. Some people think they don't have no evidence and no documents. You've got evidence that you've been here by hospital records, medical records, school records. Some people only have bad records. I helped a homeless guy apply for his compensation scheme, and he had nothing. He didn't have anywhere to live, just the clothes that he had on. But what he did have is a record that he was in care homes as a child and teenager, and he was in prison for the majority of his life. I know that seems like a bad record, but that is evidence that he's been here, to evidence that he can't get deported, basically. So trust me, you have records. There's records of us. One thing about England is they keep records on all of us. Your national insurance number, when people come here, they got nationalised or neutralised, you were given a national insurance number. Your national insurance number will have a date on it when you was given it, unless of course you was born here. If you're born here and you're applying as a close family member, you just have to evidence how you are related to the person who come in that time and how what they went through affected you. So there's something called intergenerational trauma. What that means is Our elders who experience trauma can pass on trauma to us without us having to experience it. And even if we don't grow up around those elders, it's proven with families that are taken away from each other and have been adopted, and it's proven with the transatlantic slave trade. I know that everyone in here feels somewhat traumatized over just reading and learning about that history. So that's how intergenerational trauma affects us. So if, for example, there's patterns in your family of behaviours, then you need to write that down on the form, and I'll share one from my family, which isn't positive, but it's true and it's real, and hopefully it'll inspire you to share yours. My father's been in and out of prison a number of times. My elder brother, who's 44 or 45 now, he's been in and out of prison a number of times. My nephew, who's in his early 20s, is in prison right now. So that type of intergenerational trauma, it does affect us. Trust me, it affects us, and we need to write it down on the forms. If there's a history of mental health in your family, put it on the form. If there's a history of children being in care in your family, put it on the form. If there's a history of abuse in your family, put it on the form. Everything that you've been through or your family members have been through, put it down on the form. The more you put on the form, the more money you're going to get. And it is going to be a little bit upsetting recalling on all of these traumatic experiences and having to write it out on pen to paper. It's long and it's stressful, but trust me, all of us are entitled to compensation and all of us deserve it. And it's not to say that the compensation award is to pay for what's happened or accept it as an apology and that's it. No, but it still helps, and an area where the black community struggle most is financially. That's where they attack us the most. So if we can get access to free finance, then we need to get it. And a lot of elders and conscious people in our community speak about reparations, yet this is a form of reparations and it's free to apply. This is the first time the UK have ever offered us any type of money. When there was compensation for the transatlantic slave trade, the slave masters got the compensation. This is the first lot of compensation we have ever been offered as a community, and we all need to apply as soon as possible, please. The government awarded £500 million for us in the UK, and we need to grab it. Once you have applied and stuff, once you send off your application form, they'll respond to you, they'll give you a reference number. Keep every single letter that they respond to you on. My advice is this as well: when you fill out the compensation form, scan it or take pictures of it, just in case they say they didn't receive it or you put it on the wrong form or whatever. You've got evidence, because the Home Office do lie, and they have been telling people who are eligible that they're not eligible by telephone. But you see, if you put it down on paper, they can't tell you that you're not eligible, you know. And if they do, then you need to appeal it. We're going to leave an email address for the Black Child Agenda and our website where you can contact us and find out more about our events, but also where you can come back to us and let us know about any questions that you have. Once you get an offer for your compensation, if you feel it is not enough, then make sure that you appeal it, and when you appeal it, wait for your new offer. But please just make sure you meet the criteria, because I have some people that come up to me and say, well, for example, I'm from Nigeria and I come in 1981. Do I qualify? But come on, let's use our common sense. If the criteria states that you have to have come from a British Commonwealth nation before 1973, do you qualify if you didn't come in that time? The answer is going to be no, so save your own time, but do look at the actual facts. Go on the government website, it's www.gov.uk/the Windrush Compensation Scheme. That's www.gov.uk/the Windrush Compensation Scheme. All of the application forms are on there. You need to print them and start to complete the forms. Make sure it's the right, correct form, please. Once you download the forms and print the forms, fill it out, collect your evidence. It may take some months. Once you collect your evidence, then send it off, take a photocopy of everything. Now, next slide, please. What I'm going to do is I've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to take 2 questions from the crowd. I'm going to start with you, sir, and go to this sister. Yes, you had a question? Yes? Oh. Okay, sorry, sis. Yes, you should apply on behalf of him on an estate claim for a deceased family member, but then you also apply for yourself as a primary claimant. You apply for yourself